Hi-oh, welcome back to the final whistle for the match preview, the last match preview of 2025. And what a bloody year it's been, Dan, supporting Leicester City. Well, we've looked at a few stats, haven't we, Dan? A few damning stats ahead of this one, by the way, to end 2025. And as Dan's face says it all, it's not the prettiest stats for a pretty game on Monday night. Dan, but how are we?
Not great after what we've just talked about backstage. Jesus, I didn't realise just how bad it has been in 2025 until we went through them, and like literally jaw hit the floor when we actually went through it and discovered what we discovered.
Yeah, well, there we go. Evening, Alex. How are we? Tracy, how are we? The last game is 2025 and it's sad. It's been a bloody sad year for us altogether, and it's Leicester fans. I just don't think there's been any positives to take out of this year. I think we as fans hope the year ends and move on to 2026 in we bloody hope to be better spirits, I'll be honest. Been a crap 2025 at the KP, 6 home wins all year and 4 clean sheets. Yeah. There's the stat. Big up Tony. Yeah, it's not That's good. It ain't at good.
Home, 4 clean sheets and 6 wins. That's disgraceful. For any club for a home record.
And
that
4
is
of them
absolutely shambolic.
Well, and 4 of the wins have come this season at home.
And 2 of the wins have been against Ipswich.
Yeah, 2 of them have been against Ipswich. 1 against Southampton, 1 against Stoke, 1 against Birmingham, and 1 against Sheffield Wednesday. So, hi-oh, and not so to the KP for the last time this year. I'm not sure they're confident about that one. Clibbo, how are we? Hope you're good. Hello, Kyle. How are we? Onwards and upwards. Can't be any worse, or can it? Well, I'll tell you what, we'll ask Mick.
It can't go on like this, can it?
It can.
Well, it can, and it has. Also, this year, 8 games of outscoring. Well, we have to talk about negative stats, Kyle, mate. You're making it worse. You make it a depressing sort of show. Not that it's depressing enough, mate. Jesus, give me some strength. We're going to need fucking bail money at this point. Let's be honest. 12:30 kickoff win in 2025. The last one was West Brom in 2024. So, well done for that one. Mick McCarthy's the same as well. There we go. Leicester City's a championship side now. We are. Thanks for noticing. Appreciate that. Yeah, it's been a damning year for Leicester. Dan, well, if anyone's not checked out this, we did the evening whistle yesterday where we discussed everything. The fans asked the questions. It were a therapy session for the fans to come in and get everything off their chest. We discussed everything, all the problems that are happening at the club, and I think we covered 99.9% of it, and it was a very long hour and a half, but we managed to get through it.
Yeah, just about.
And we also managed to get 60 likes on it, which that's what we set in the end. Jordan who is not a striker and does not give us the outlet we need because he is so slow. Why on earth would you leave 11 in the box when defending a corner? How do we get out? I say this every game.
Yeah.
I honestly say this every game. Who is on the halfway line? That's why we can't attack, because we've got backs to the wall every time.
Yeah.
6 times we have been 3-0 down or more down by half time. 3 of them have been in the last 30 days. Well, that's not good. Will Marty get signings in January if we don't have a director of football? We've got a director of football. John Wilkins.
No, Clibo's right. No, Clibo's right. We don't have a director. We have a title of a director of football, but we don't actually have one.
Well, there we go. The technical director, I don't think he's going to come in till the end of Jan, start of Feb. That's not fucking good, is it? Club just issued. It lasts 3 minutes. Oh, did it? Oh, good for them. Mr. Positive Me, remember your Premiership title. Keep the faith, Foxes. My club lost 8 home games on the spin, thanks to Liam Manning. Thank God we now have Philip Clement. The thing is, Nigel, is I try being positive. I really do. And we always try keeping the faith. That's the only thing we get told after every game. Keep the faith. Things will change. No, things aren't changing. We remember the Premier League title, but as fans, I'm very much a fan of the here and now. What's happening now with the club? Not back then, because everything was very good back then. It were pretty, nice flowers and everything like that. And yeah, nowadays, it just feels like a long memory. It does. To be fair, maybe we've found our level now and need to survive this. But the thing is, though, Paul, we shouldn't have had to put ourselves in this position. That's what I'm saying. We should never have put ourselves in this position to be where we are, but we have done.
Yeah.
Because we've made too many poor decisions, and this is what's got us in this position now.
Yeah.
And there's no going back. You can't turn back time.
No, I mean, again, I'm not being funny. It's clearly not our level. It may sound slightly back-footed by saying, with the situation that's going on, but as a club, sitting,
we've gone backwards.
16th in the Championship,
14th.
14th. That's not our level. That's never been our level. We've had one season where we were in the 3rd tier of English football. The rest of the time, we've been in the top 2, and when we've been in the 2nd tier, we've always been in the top 6.
Well, sometimes in the bottom half. Depends which season we pick out. Craig Levine, hello, evening, sir. One question. One question. If Marty is the answer, what's the question?
That's a very good, well, we don't think Marty really is the answer. That's the problem, But unfortunately, because of how poorly we've been ran off field, they've put us in this position where somebody like Marty is all they can do. It's what they can afford, or as much as far as they wanted to pay. I don't know. We'll never know the full ins and outs, but really, the poor decision making and everything else that's gone along with it over the last, as we said last night,
few years.
But really, like I say, the last 10 years. We got lucky on a couple of occasions where we've had quality, but sort of realistically, we've had more bad buys than what we've had good. So it's one of them.
Well, not bothering watching the game tomorrow. What is the point of watching a squad aboard and they don't care about us? We want answers from everyone in the club, but we will never get the answer. That is understandable. I'm not surprised if people want to stay at home, and that's your decision to do so. And the end of the day, I can see how far the fans feel real depressed, disappointed, and how sad this club has come to where it is today. And that's down to poor decision making, non-accountability, and all that. That's what it's down to. It's not down to making the best decisions possible for the club, because it's just radio silence. We don't know what's going on, and then obviously things get leaked left, right, and centre, and it's not for the best. So I don't know, I'm sure it's a third club. When tomorrow's tifo is cancelled due to lack of numbers expected, that's when you know it's bad. When the attendances are very, very low. You go to games now, Dan, and it's quiet. Obviously, you get the boys doing what they're doing with the chants in SK1 and that, trying to build an atmosphere and that, people in L1 and that, and it's difficult to sort of find. Obviously, they're the only positives you take in the atmosphere, because the atmosphere can be very damning at the King Power, and when it is, you can bloody hear Marty talking to the squad or the players shouting at each other.
Yeah, I mean, it's a chore to go and watch.
It feels like it, yeah.
It's
not. It don't feel like it's a enjoyment.
No,
you're getting your money worth unless you're an opposition fan.
Oh, yeah,
the oppositions have had more probably better times coming to the KP than the Leicester fans have as of late.
Yeah, because they'll see their side unopposed. They'll see their side have plenty of chances, create lots of opportunities.
Shippo in shortly. We're just discussing little bits before we get Shippo in. Sorry if it's another but a little bit of a counselling again. We do apologise. But carry on, Dan.
No, that's it. It's just saying. Like I say, if you want to watch your side play some decent football and create plenty of chances and have plenty of shots on target, come and watch them. Down at the King Power, because that's what you'll see from your side, and you'll look at your side maybe slightly differently and maybe get a slightly deluded version of it and thinking that they're a half decent side because of what they do. But it's just because at the minute, whatever bunch of 11 that we put out,
they're just too easy to play against.
Yeah, they're just soft. They're just soft.
We look very unfit, and then you got players again today. What was it? Another one before the Derby game. I'm going to read it to you. We keep believing, same mindset, same goals, better days coming. Who do you think said that?
What, Marty or JJ?
Abdul.
Oh, Abdul.
I'm fed up of this social media bollocks when they keep talking on social media and not doing it on the pitch. I don't care about what you've got to say on social media until you start proving to me that you can play football correctly and do everything well on a football pitch and start picking up results and stop bloody prancing around like musical statues and not putting up a fight on a football pitch and being easily to play against. Then I'll start believing that you're speaking facts that you're saying on social media. Until then, like I say, I'm not interested. I'm not asked. I want to see a team that gives effort, who will fight for one another. And as a team at Leicester, we've got individuals. We've got players who just don't care. They'll happily leave in the summer. They'll go.
Yeah.
And this is what pees me off when they keep saying, oh, we'll be back, we'll do this, we'll do that. And every time they keep saying it, they're not meeting the requirements of everything they're saying.
Well, the other issue is with that, Jack, his first two things were same and same, weren't it? What was it? Same mentality, same something else or other.
Not
we want the same. We want
they're saying it's the same. We keep believing in what exactly? What I mean, same mindset that you lost against Watford with, where you second half you got absolutely trounced and you didn't turn up at all, and then the same goals of what, conceding every time, being too easy to play against. Is that the same goals? Is it? Because I don't know. I don't look at a positive head of Derby and think do you know what? We can actually go there and battle well against Derby. Derby are good away from home this season. Every team's going to fancy playing against Leicester. Because we're so predictable. All they know is we'll let them down the right-hand side. Luke Thomas will be on his own, so he'll be easily beaten, and they'll score. And we make our own. We make our own issues.
The one thing that you can guarantee with their manager is that he would have learnt from the mistakes from 3 weeks ago now, and he'll rectify that. And their team won't play in the same way as they did.
That's for another show, John. Shows the attendances must be low as an international member. I've been offered tickets for so many games. Well said, Jack. I agree. The players should get their heads down and give 100% for us instead of talking online, saying, sorry, we try harder. I say stop talking and perform. Yeah. Words are cheap unless you ain't got the actions to go with it. I say the same to the manager. I'm fed up of hearing the same thing week in, week out from him. I want to see a lot more from you. I want to see you earn your paycheck, mate. Something that you're being paid to do, get the best out of this team and winning games and performing and showing the fans that you actually care. Because at the minute, it just seems like one thing after another, to be honest. And I'm just going to pick up on this comment, Dan, before we bring Shippo in. This one, this has obviously come to light, hasn't it, tonight again? An email that's been rumoured to be sent by the club to the stewards, saying that they won't get the food vouchers and that, and it just feels like, Dan, one negative after another. It just feels like one thing after another. You obviously heard last week about staff not being paid. It's very damning, in it, that the stewards take their time to go and work their asses off through the cold weather and that this Christmas, and to be at games and do their job, look after the fans and that. And the club, well, we're not going to get your food voucher. Well, a food voucher that they get every Christmas, from what I was reading and what someone put out on social media regarding it. I just think it's so bizarre, Dan. It just feels like there's just no end to what's exactly happening. This vicious spiral just keeps getting turned even more. Not in a positive way.
No, they don't. They're really, really not doing themselves any favours. And have they not learned? Well, again, this is another issue that they never seem to learn from their mistakes. They just make continuous mistake after mistake. We had it the other week. All right. It wasn't a case of that people weren't getting paid. They just weren't getting paid when they were initially promised. They were getting paid on their regular payday. And I know, like I say, companies pay. I've had it before in the past with companies. They pay you that week earlier because it falls right for their accounts, because the accounts will be off on their holidays over the Christmas period as well. So it usually how it works is that it eases pressure on those within the company who deal with the payroll side of things. But again, obviously, because football is a 365 days of the year, so they've obviously gone, well, we're still here, we're all working, so nothing changes. But what you don't do is you don't tell people that they're going to get paid on a certain day,
and then 7 hours before say, we can't pay you until a week later. That's not good enough. It's not professional.
No, that's more it. It's not professional.
It's not professional for a club who has standards. Set for to be professional and
it's
to
not
do everything right. Well, supposedly, this is where it is.
Yeah, and again, it's I don't work for the club. I don't have anything to do with the club whatsoever. Other than going.
We just go and pay our money and watch the games. That's all it is.
Yeah, I don't know what the morale is like within the stadium, because I can imagine wrongly that some fans might, have a go at people that are easy targets within the club because it's a face they see in the club shop or whatever, Not that they can do anything about it, but there will be after a few beers, and I'm not justifying it, by the way, by saying that, but obviously people get, have a couple of jars of Brave juice and they say things that they shouldn't say.
Get annoyed. There we go. Keith, How are we, mate? Good to see you in as always, my mate. Hope you're well. Right, we're here for a preview and not a therapy session that's carried on for 20 minutes. So should we get our good mate Shippo in?
Yeah, he'd be bored if not. He might have gone home.
I think he's bloody gone to sleep listening to bloody pitching out. Talking about our club. Surely it can't be that depressing. It's Derby County, Shippo.
Not as bad as what you lot have got it anyway at the minute. I've just booked my slot for 9:30 tomorrow with the counsellor after listening to all that. It's bad. We've been there. We've done that. We've got the T-shirt. Yeah. We know how you feel and that. We had it all under the Mel Morris stuff. So it's bad. And shouldn't say it, but we do feel a little bit for you because we know how bad it can get for you. And hopefully it will start slowly turn around by the end of the season.
Yeah, that's it. Well, hopefully so. Somebody needs to get a grip of it somewhere and start turning things around because there's no real reason for it either.
Oh, there we go.
There's no justification for it. There we go.
Right, Leicester. Go on, finish what you got to say.
Me?
Yeah, you were saying something and then you can't.
No. I was just just saying about as I said, somebody needs to get a grip of it and turn things around because it's not very good at the minute. And then that's it. And then I said, now let's get on with the game. Something else. Hopefully, we can be a bit more positive about.
Oh, good, mate. I'm sorry, bro. We lose, so that he F's off. He wins. It's the more time. Well, I think he's on about. He's on about Marty.
Yeah, I know he's on about, but I don't think it'll matter.
I think
we're in a position to be able to afford to get rid of him.
The problems at the club are well above the manager. Above. Obviously, the players, they've got to take accountability as well for what they're dishing out week in, week out. Obviously, some wins paper over the cracks, and that's how football is, I'm afraid. 2-2. Well, there we go. 2-2, my prediction. Well, we're not getting into predictions yet, but thanks for getting them in nice and early to make me feel any better that we're actually think we're going to get a point. Right, Shippo, Leicester take on Derby. Derby have picked up 18 points away from home this season. They seem to be very much better away from home than at home. People speak highly of Derby when the EFL analysis do their shows. They seem to be doing quite well without Morris, and Ajimang seems to have stepped up. And you seem to be a complete different breed away from home, Shippo. Last time, it weren't pretty for you. We're at a 3-1 defeat at Pride Park when you last faced us about, what was it, three weeks ago?
About 3 weeks ago, yeah. It still hurts now.
What about this time, Shippo? Talk to me. I mean, how good has the away form been? Obviously, 18 points. What do you sort of take into this game from what you learned from the defeat in the reverse fixture this season?
Well, to be fair, looking at our home form, I mean, even worse, it proved the pudding that we crumble so much at the back four every time.
That was Derby. Last time
that was Derby, yeah. We just absolutely crumbled. And when it happened 3 times, you were just like, this can't keep going on. And I thought it was going to finish 6-7-0 how it was going. I was just like start to finish, but we pulled the one back. Hopefully that picked them up a little bit. We've gone on a little bit of a run now with a couple of draws and a win. Playing Birmingham on Friday. Watched that game. At times we did crumble again.
Yeah.
So it's one of those where we're playing, pardon my French, shit football, but still getting results out of it. And it's you just can't work out how it's happening. We're not having all the percentage. We only have like 40% at times. First half we can go without having one attempt on goal, but then still winning the game in the second half or getting a draw out of the game if we're behind. So it's one of those where we all scratch our heads still. But it's working. Whatever he's doing, it is working.
You've kept 4 clean sheets. You've kept one more than Leicester. Leicester are 19th in the clean sheet rankings, and you're 18th going into this. How do you think you need? What do you take from the Birmingham game? Because obviously that red card for obviously you guys, Ward. It's a daft second yellow, isn't it? To get when you're leading again 1-0, and it lets Birmingham back in the game. I think Derby looked very much comfortable at 1-0. But then the red card obviously changes a lot, Shippo. And then you concede the goal. I think Robinson scored, and then obviously that Birmingham defender absolute karate kicked your bloody player onto the floor and got the red card itself. So, how do you think you'll sort of fare without Ward? Obviously, Ward's been one of your key players, hasn't he, as well as Morris this season. What you sort of thinking with the trip to the King Power, because you're playing a Leicester side that seemed very much easy to play against and one that teams very much fancy a lot compared to when we played you obviously away from home this season.
Well, with Ward going out, he's disappointed in himself. He's even said on social media he's apologised for what he did and everything. He said he shouldn't have done it. He learns from his mistakes. We've got Max Johnson back, so I think he'll just go straight into that position anyway. So it's still covered. With the swaps, Nelson coming on, strengthened the backup, made it more comfortable where they just couldn't get through then. I think, will he bring Dion back into this form, or would he drop Nelson into it? I think I'd like to see Nelson, to be fair, because I think that'll make us a lot stronger at the back.
Yeah.
Because that's what happened with you lot. We just literally crumbled in that centre back two. So hopefully if Nelson comes into it, I think it'll make it a lot stronger. Going up front, we seem to be pasting it.
Did he come on in the second half and replace?
Yeah, he came in the second half, Nelson did,
Yeah.
He played about 50 minutes or so, roughly.
Yeah.
So it's good for him to get some time under his legs because he's only just come back from injury himself. So that's nice for him to come back. Up front, we can be quite attacking, but we still make it too much easy for ourselves to lose the ball every time. We see do this hit and hope of trying to get it up front, and hopefully somebody's got some legs that can run onto it.
Yeah.
And that's what happened with Adji, with the ball he carried on with, and we ended up scoring. But we all call him the one chop because he literally looks like Paolo one chop with how he plays, because he's got spaghetti legs. You don't know what he's going to do. It confuses the hell out of even the fans. And that, I think, goes to his own little sort of ways of confusing everybody, and hopefully he might score again on Monday.
Dan, you obviously look at Derby's record going into this. They're 4 unbeaten, 3 draws, one win since obviously that Leicester game. Do you fear Derby in this game? I know it's a cliche question. You know, you fear every team in this league, no matter who you're playing, because it might be you look at Leicester's team compared to Derby's team on paper, but you can never underestimate any of your opposition. So what is your initial thinking on this? Because if you look at Leicester, what have we picked up? 4 clean sheets this year, in 6 wins at home all year. It's damning, isn't it, that teams are coming with the mindset now that we can get at Leicester. If we get at Leicester, we get something. We seem to fold quite easily.
Oh, yeah.
Where do you see sort of the threats with, obviously, Derby and that? How fearful do we really need to be?
Well, yeah, I mean, it is most definitely something that we have to be fearful of. It's one of them where I don't enjoy these games when you play each other so close together. Yeah. And Derby County made a lot of mistakes in that game 3 weeks ago. The gaffer, he was absolutely livid. You could see any time there was a break in play, he's got literally the whole of them over, giving them direction and sort of almost asking them what the hell they think they're doing, until he could get them in at half time and make the changes that he did and come out a completely different side. So it's quite clear that he will make sure they don't make the same errors that allowed us to get in so comfortably, because we didn't have to work. It's the first time where we really didn't have to work that hard to get attempts on goal, and we had a lot in that game. I think we had more in that game than we have done the whole entire season, which was obviously very surprising for us, because we average 2 attempts on goal and one of them's on target. The other one's gone 7 foot over the bar usually. But what I know of their manager, he will make sure that doesn't happen again. They're not going to have 5 players in a static line trying to block Abdul from putting a cross in and leaving 4 Leicester players running in behind them with not a white shirt in tow. Those sorts of little things and the gaps that were there. That all changed in the second half, hence why we got nothing, really. What was it? A couple of attempts weren't in the second half.
They scored, didn't
they? They scored their free kick, yeah. But from us, I'm talking about,
we didn't really do much in that second half.
No, that's it. And you can go, well, you're 3-0 up, you didn't need to do much. Well, unfortunately, as a Leicester fan at the minute, we don't feel comfortable even at 3-0 up. So, even when they did score, there was, players tripping over themselves and things like that to try and do something because the panic set in.
Yeah.
So, it is a game to be fearful of because, like I say, I don't imagine Derby will make the same mistakes as what they did in the first half. And how we are, let's say, if Derby go at us and get at us early, like what we've discussed, we'll fold like a deck of cards in the wind, and there'll be fingers pointed at one another about. Yeah. Well, actually, no, there probably won't be.
I don't even think.
And saying better luck next time.
I don't even think we'll see the bloody Spider-Man meme for Leicester because they don't point the fingers at each other and blame each other. It's just it's all right, gives a cuddle and off we go. And we've seen that from Jakob and Akoli. When was it? Last game when Akoli made that mistake.
Yeah,
you should be sitting there berating these players and
absolutely.
Saying, you can't be doing that. You've got to be more mindful of what you're doing. You lose the ball in a silly position, and it got Watford that goal through Marma, and then we looked shaky again in that second half when Watford really turned it up even more on Leicester. It intensified, and then we ended up conceding the second. It could have been 3 or 4 because we started to open up then because the panic started to set in. And then there was so much disorganisation and in the defensive positioning, awareness of where they needed to be and where the Watford's players were. It's just like we don't look at that. And then
exactly.
So Derby, last time they conceded 3 goals in 31 minutes against us at Pride Park, a game that Marty was under pressure, and it was a must-win game for him. And we did take our goals well. Bobby Reid. Skip scored finally after about 2 years and 10 months, I think it was. And and that's probably how poor Derby are, Shippo, when you do concede goals.
We spoke about it, didn't we? We said it shows you how poor it is when you've got players that ain't scored in ages scoring goals, and it was an easy goal as well. I was more frustrated.
Yeah. And then
nobody went on him.
Yeah.
And Jordan James scored again. It's the best away day this season. It's the best game this season I've watched, to be honest, the Derby game. But Eustace won't allow that to happen again at all. He's very much a manager who wants the best out of his team. He wants that team to have that passion, that desire to really. He'll learn his mistakes from last time against Leicester for sure. But then you're looking at Leicester, Shippo. What's been your thoughts on Leicester since they've obviously last played against Derby? Because we are very much, what have we picked up, Dan? Hold on, where are we?
Not a lot.
We picked up 2 wins, 1 draw.
Yeah.
Wait.
Yeah,
obviously,
your last 5, isn't it?
the win against Derby, win against Ipswich, draw against Bristol City, in the absolute hammering we took at Loftus Road, and the defeat against Watford. What do you sort of see since obviously Leicester beat Derby Shippo? It just feels like we've gone back to our normal selves again.
It does, and it was quite shocking that you lost 4-1 to QPR as well after beating sort of Ipswich 3-1 at home, and then going on, and it was literally watching us again against you, and you like just crumbled at the back, and you just went, there you go, there's the goal, help yourself kind of thing, and it was just like, how? What the hell?
How do you concede 4 to any team in the first half? Is the question.
And then with you losing to Watford as well, it's one of those where you look at it, you think now is the time that Derby might actually do something, and actually break that 23-year voodoo at your place.
Been a long time.
And again, you might turn up and then play an absolute worldie, and you'll be all sitting there going, "Where's this team been for the last 2 games?"
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'd be pleasantly surprised if that did happen. I think what we will need to be cautious of is what I would expect, Derby to be doing is coming out the blocks quickly, down our left-hand side, your right-hand side, and punishing us. So, if Marty really does have anything about him at all, he'll make sure that for the first sort of 5, 10, 15 minutes, that angle is shut off, because we expose ourselves very easily with that. And we never seem to shut off that channel, and teams exploit it quite comfortably. If
we allow teams
then you might gas yourselves out a little bit for a few minutes, and that allows us to perhaps hit you on the break like what we did at your place, where, as you say, your back 4 or 5, depending on how you play it,
it's not the quickest.
Exposed. Yeah, well, that's the thing. Yeah, it gets exposed, or they have the same fear as they did with the likes of Abdul, because he's not been great this season, but he does have moments where he'll hurt you, and if certainly, like any player, if you give them time and space, even at this level, they'll punish you for it, and that's luckily for us what you sort of gave him initially, even though they tried not to, like I say, by always doubling up on him or tripling up on him, but they just never seem to actually close him down properly. But
I think what's helped us in the last couple of games is we've played Tomo and Clark in the middle, and with them two still being young and they've got that pace, they've been running back whilst everybody else has still been forward. So at least then we've still had 2 running back to cover. And then we've had like Reward going back as well, and then Lancaster making the path. So hopefully, like you say, we might have actually learnt the lesson. And
is Clark available? Because didn't he get booked on Friday, and that's his 5th booking or something? That's what I thought I heard them say.
I think he's still available. I think. Just trying to remember him.
Yeah, I don't know how that works in the Championship, because I've got this booking as well against Watford. I know in the Premier League it's 19, and then it changes. I don't know how it works in the Championship.
I think we've just missed it where they've got the cut-off point where you have the 5. Yeah, and he's just over it, so now it restarts again.
Yeah.
So now it has to be up to 10 now before he gets a ban. Yeah, that was it.
Yeah.
I remember hearing something about it.
So
in a way, it's good.
Yeah. So this game, Derby at won at Leicester for 23 years, Shippo. February the 23rd, 2002. 3-0 win for Derby. Back then, can you name the goal scorers?
It was Georgie Kinklatzy.
Right.
Then you had Morris with an own goal, I think it was, and then Struper.
Oh, so testing your knowledge. Right, so we've had Watford, who haven't won it 12 years, coming to Leicester. And then we had Sheffield United, who haven't won for a long time. What was their last win at Leicester? 2007. So, 18 years? 18, yeah. They didn't win for 18 years at Leicester, and yeah, obviously it feels like, Dan, a lot of teams who haven't won for a certain amount of time at Leicester have been getting the points this season, haven't they? You know, and obviously Ipswich are the only team to have failed to do that. So, what's your sort of thinking, Dan, before we get more into depth for this game? I mean, what are you expecting? I mean, what should we expect is the question, because I physically, it can very, very much be a game tomorrow night of watching it through your fingers, or it could be one of them where you're just huffing and puffing as a fan and just freezing your bloody bollocks off, sitting in the stands and hoping we'd actually attack the game and not keep tippy-tapping around the back, and hopefully the goalkeeper don't make any mistakes. So what's your sort of thinking, Dan, going into tomorrow's game against Derby? I mean, the first question I want to sort of add on that is it an East Midlands derby to you, Dan?
Not particularly, but I understand why it is classed as it, because there's surrounding villages. But let's say ours is really Coventry and Nottingham, and Derby's is Forest. Because that, again, they have more interlinking villages and towns around them than what we do. So it's one of them. But I understand it, because there's not a lot of distance between the two clubs. But when you have a club either side of you that's of closer distance, then yeah. But hey, look, that doesn't make great TV if you're not calling something a derby or a big clash all the time, does it? It's not sellable in that way. No. So that's where a lot of these things come from. Is hyperbole selling points, and if you've got something that's as small as that to cling on to. But no, like I say, for me, it's not. But it is a game between two clubs that, over the years, has always been competitive. There is always that bit between the two clubs. For a long time, really, it's been Leicester and Derby on a sort of on a level playing field. It's only been really over the last 15 or so years that it's not been. But other than that, it's because we were both mainly in either League One or the Championship at the majority of the time. So it's an easy one for the broadcasters to sell then. But what do I think for us? I think there'll be I would like to hope there's going to be a lot of changes, rather than just the standard. It'll be
like for like changes.
Ricky P for Hamza, because Ricky P can't play 2 games in a week, and potentially Okoli might come out, depending on whether Vestergaard's fit again. But who knows? It should be more than that. And again, to be honest, I don't really want to see Hamza played at right back, because he's a liability there, really. He's just not good enough. I'd rather us write that bit off and we play Aluko, because he's really going to be a future right back for us, with what funds we have available to us.
Yeah.
So you've got to start trusting and playing him somehow. You messed him up by playing him out of position in his first game, and he got
You've got to integrate him, haven't you, Dan, gradually. You
absolutely.
Can't just throw him in like we did with Aluko at Southampton, just expect him to do what others have been doing.
Look, when you're bringing a kid in, you give him the best opportunity you can to benefit him and to settle in, not play him out of position next to another centre half who doesn't like defending. He likes being on the ball and looking good and playing, big crossfield passes and things like that. But ask him to defend, he can't do it. So, they did hang him out to dry a bit there. And even then, when he was on a booking, they didn't look after him.
Right.
So, but that's what I continue to say about this squad. I wouldn't really want many of our youngsters playing, because we don't look after them. We don't educate them in that way. We hang them out to dry. We rest our hopes all on the likes of these youngsters, no matter which ones it is, whether it's Monga or whether it's Louis Page, and expecting big things out of them. We've got to remember, 16 and 17 years old.
Sure.
It's too much to ask. But, yeah, I do expect some big changes. As we've said, Jakob needs to come out, because...
There's been a lot said about that, and I agree. I honestly don't think he's good enough. Yes, he's made big mistakes, but the amount of mistakes he's made, I can count on my hands.
Yeah,
it just isn't. See, Begovic was good for a couple of games, and then he started to concede and that, and then the only real thing you've got now is Viatez, the goalkeeper.
He didn't really do enough wrong.
Hello, Jenny.
To get dropped.
To be fair, most fans predicted mid-table mediocrity this season. So why the shock and panic now?
I don't think we did, but
somewhat people said.
I think everybody said it depends on what happens in regards with the points
deduction and that. I said playoffs at a push. That's what I said at the start. At mid-table, if I said we were mid-table without a points deduction, people would slap me around the face and want to rip my head off, because they're like, well, you've got clearly faith in our squad, haven't you? But you look at where we are now as a team, and the points deduction that's coming compared, it looks like a bloody mid-table bloody finish, doesn't it? Or bottom half. It the bloody worst of it.
Well, as we discussed earlier, our form at the minute is relegation form.
It is relegation,
like it or not. That's where we're at. We'll pick up a couple of good wins here and there, and then we'll go 3-4 losses or pick up a point maximum. Out of a game. So, with that, and as I say, depending on what happens with this impended points deduction, who knows where it can be. I agree.
Shippo. I mean, this is a tough game for us. We don't really. We're not confident going into this game at all, as you can tell. We don't put faith in this team to go in to get the goods, should we call it, after watching the performances we have been watching with this team. We've seen a lot of teams come to the King Power and get points against us this season. The Wrexhams, the Portsmouths, the Watfords. There's quite a few teams who have took points away from Leicester this season due to how bad we have been. What do you see from Derby and John Eustace? Because Agyman's been good for you this season. He's stepped up, hasn't he, since Morris has been out. What your away form seems very much good. 18 points. What are you sort of thinking, Shippo?
To be fair, looking at from an outsider for you lot as well, I'd happily take a win all day long. But realistically, I think it'll be a draw. I think you'll end up coming out playing football that you ain't seen since you played at Derby.
Yeah.
We'll end up struggling again, but then we'll put one back. And then it'll be tippy-tappy all the way through, then scrappy all the way to the very end. And then everybody just go, we'll play for a draw, because that's what he does with John as well. What we've seen a lot of is if we've scored a goal, all of a sudden he'll try and play the whole rest of the 90 minutes. And I'll go, right, we're up for, we're 1-0 up. Let's just win 1-0. It's like, you can't do that in this game. Not at all. Because every time you do that, you guarantee the opposition will score.
Yeah,
and then if you just score again, you're chasing your tail again. So I think if we go down one and then pull one back, I think then that would be a good time to say, right, let's just play for a draw here and take the point.
Yeah, I can't disagree with that too much. Like I say, if that's what he's doing, you leave yourself open a bit, because you're inviting pressure on all the time. So it's something that we do a lot. It's what happened against Wrexham. It's what happened against Bristol.
We bring the pressure on and then crack it because we make our own problems.
Yeah.
We let a lot of teams have a lot of big chances.
Yeah. That's the one thing I can guarantee. We will give you plenty of chances.
You'll probably have more chances, Shippo, than what you had against us at Pride Park.
Possibly. But we said this last time and look what happened. You ended up coming out of the studs and actually ruining us.
I agree. I honestly agree, Jenny. I do. I don't think any manager will succeed at this club until the shit has been removed and the poison eaten away from the dressing room. There's about 4 or 5 who won't have any manager. I agree, Jen. I honestly agree. I agree with you. I do. You know, there's going to be a lot of managers who look at Leicester and think, well, I don't want to go and manage there with how toxic it is. You know, with the squad it now, we can't. If any other manager can't get anything out of that team, well, we clearly can't with our credentials, and we bloody won titles or whatever it is in our time. You know, if they're not willing to learn and play football for me, then it's a problem in itself. And people always say it's going to get worse before it gets better in football. It's a cliche. Everyone uses it, and Derby's had the same, where things got worse under Mel Morris to get better after he left. And then you've obviously we've sort of done the full circle, haven't we, Dan? With, you know, when 2010 came, and you know when they'd obviously took over and that, and then where we are now, we're back to where we were before, which we didn't.
We're getting that way, yeah. We are getting
that. We are back there, and obviously, I think this is the lowest we've been since 2010 in the league format. The stat the other day that this is the lowest we've been since 2010. Yeah. So, I expect a tough game, and I think we make it difficult on ourselves against teams. And if Derby score the first goal, the fans will get on the players' back. They will, because.
Yeah.
It will then set in the mindset that they'll just give up. They'll just think, I can't be bothered. That's what we do, Shippo. It's like we're a wounded animal. When we concede the first goal, teams see us there for the taking, and then they get more chances, and then we start making a lot more mistakes. And you've seen it against QPR. We conceded in the second minute, and then they're 4 up by half time. Sheffield United were 3 up by half time. Southampton were 3 up before half time. There's a lot of teams who have really carried on that pressure, and it's paid off. Obviously, Watford, we obviously scored first, and then obviously they got 1 for half time, and then second half it rolled them again. So I think that's how the game goes in this one.
We were the same under Warren. We was booing the players and everything. Blew every time after half time or it like that.
Yeah.
You're booing, and you could just tell the toxic in the air. And I think that's going to be the same on Monday for you.
You're going to feel
you'll feel the toxic in the air. It doesn't matter who you support. At the end of the day, you're going to feel it, and then that's where we should turn around and go, "We've got this now."
You'll feel that tension.
It's got toxic now. This is where we need to fucking dig in now.
We with us, Shippo, when you go to home games, you can feel that tension. You know, they don't want to make a mistake, and when they do make the mistake, they know that they pay for it. You know what I mean? And you'll feel that in the away end tomorrow night at the King Power, that tension from the home fans. Because that's how it's been now, hasn't it, Dan, for a long time? That real tension sets in. As soon as that whistle is blown to start the game off, that tension sets in. And it's really damning for us when it does, because you should never feel that tension. I mean, you could probably only feel the tension when it's an FA Cup final. And you know what I mean? That's something you obviously feel tension throughout the whole 90 minutes, or a playoff final. You shouldn't feel tension in a normal game, but you do because of how bad things are, Shippo.
That's it. Well, it turns almost as instantly as, depending on how the kickoff goes from the whistle blowing. If it goes backwards and goes backwards again, instantly you're going to have the fans are going, here we go again. We're just keeping the ball around at the back, passing it between the two centre halves.
That's the thing. When they start playing it around the back and they're not attacking the game, it does it. And then obviously, look at what Paul said here. 10 minutes to go, and Hamza's passing it around the back to the goal, passing it back to the goalkeeper.
Yeah, when you're 2-1 down.
Derby are going to sit on that, aren't they? They're going to say, okay, well, this is how Leicester's playing. So they're going to sit tight and sort of close the gaps. And then they're just going to see Leicester go long. And then they'll pick us off like that. They'll put that pressure on, so there's lack of space. And we've obviously had Skip and James who have been good in the recent games.
Yeah.
Jordan James is our most consistent player in the team. He scored 6 goals, but you expect 6 goals or more from a striker, which we obviously. Shippo, I would say to you is, we played with 10 men. We very much play with 10 men. And I've said this to you many times this season where we ain't got a striker. Jordan Ayew ain't a striker. We barely see goals. Pat, he spends more time in the number 6 position than the number 9, but he's got 9 the wrong way round. And then you've got Pat Sandaka. I mean, he hasn't been all season part of the Stoke game, and then he's obviously gone to the.
It's like you're playing every game with a false 9.
Yeah, and then you got Carranza, who isn't good enough. He's not good enough. But someone said, well, you put Silko Thomas down the middle tomorrow night. But what if that doesn't work? Because I've rated Silko this season. I think he's hard worked, and I really like the look of him.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, he's still a winger. He's a young
He's a young lad still learning.
So it's one of them.
I don't think he's into a position this season. We've been three managers in 2 years. I'm not squared on the manager, but it's the old triangle: manager, player, and back office. Well, there we go. Yeah, you summed it up perfectly there, advisor. Big up anyway. Shippo, last time you came to Leicester was 2000, and in the championship, you last came to us. It was 4-1, 2014.
Yeah.
David Nugent scored 2, Jamie Vardy scored, Richie Delat scored, and Richie Delat scored 9 goals. It seems like the annual for Derby when they come to Leicester that they can see quite a few goals.
Yeah, there's always goals in it. I think in like the Division 1 days of 2002, it was like 3-1 to you lot as well.
It's never glorious. It's never cool, is it?
No, it's never good for us. We always get heavy defeats against you.
Goals. What do you reckon for Team Shipper? Do you reckon he'll shuffle the pack a bit after that Birmingham game? Obviously, the festive period. You've got the next game in about 3 days' time after that one. I think it's Thursday.
Yeah.
How do you reckon he'll line up?
There will be some shuffling anyway, because Langas got injured as well at the end of the game, near enough towards the end of the game as well, because what people don't see on the TV was when Adams got kicked in the head.
Yeah.
Langas got elbowed in the head by another Birmingham player. So it was like a bit of one of those where Langas went off with the concussion thing. So they're still waiting to find out if he's going to be available. If he's not, then they'll be definitely moving about in the back 3. So I think he'll definitely use Nelson, Bath, and Clark.
Yeah.
Midfield, he might use Adams because Adams in the second half of Birmingham absolutely bull-nosed it, came out fighting for it. He was up for it. Front 3, I think he'll just keep the same anyway. So there will be a couple of changes, but not as big as what people think. There won't be like massive changes.
I agree. Based on performance at Derby, the team has a good opportunity for a bounce. But also based on the last 2 matches, so does Derby. That's basically saying the game could go either way.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, looking at it,
but that's any game in the Championship.
It is. It's so you can't predict the Championship, but you can predict Leicester City. That's how it is. That's the sort of line I use. You can't predict the league, but you can predict your club. Dan, Leicester's team. How many changes do you realistically want to see? I say realistically because I'm saying if we pick the team over Marty, what would you like to see? I know what Marty's going to go with, but What do you realistically see with the 11 tomorrow? What would you like to see?
Well, as I alluded to earlier, Jakob's got to come out. Really, he's made too many mistakes, unforgivable ones as well. And against Watford, not only does he make mistakes, he's also extremely weak at coming for anything. Now, that second goal, there's no excuses as a goalkeeper for that. You come out commanding and with authority. You come out with your knee up, your studs up, the lot up, and you go and you claim the ball. And it doesn't matter who you take out, whether it's one of yours, one of theirs, whoever it might be, because you're not going to get punished for it. But he's not. He come out, he got out-jumped, bearing in mind he can use his hands as well. So he got out-jumped by a centre-half for them to score the headed goal, and then collapsed on the floor as if he'd been hit by a tank. I mean, it might have felt like it with Pollock, but
I'll tell you what, he's a big lad, isn't he?
He is a big lad. He's a big lad. So it might have felt like that, but it was weak goalkeeping.
You've got to be more demanding in your area and be more stronger when coming out to claim them balls.
He has to come out.
Who'd you put in, Vietez or Begovic?
Well,
because I ain't seen Vietez, so I can't comment.
Well, but this is it. But at the same time, he was playing for Real Betis last season. All right, he was their backup keeper, but he played all their Conference League games. So he's played all, he's played all their European games.
He's supposed to be in the number 2.
So that's it.
I
personally don't have an issue with Begovic. His age and all the rest of it, I'm not really too worried about because, he didn't really do anything wrong. Okay, he's not as agile as he once was, but none of us are as we get older. So that's why I would prefer to see probably Vites in.
All right. Let's go through the defence. So
as I say, the other change will be Ricky P.
For Hamza.
Most likely for Hamza, but I don't want it to be.
It'd be. I'd prefer.
And I think the other change that will definitely happen, provided he's fit again, is Vestergaard will come back in because that's the partnership that he likes is Nelson. I would prefer again him not to, but that's what he'll do.
I'd keep the midfield too as they are.
And I think Ramsey will come in for Bobby.
Reid,
because again, he can't play 2 games in a week. The front three won't change. The front three won't change. Abdul will play. Mavs will play on the left. I say that now. Maybe he'll start Monga, but I doubt it.
He weren't happy with Steffi, was he?
No, he wasn't. But and Ayew will play up top because he clearly doesn't trust Carranza. Because
she'll put Bobby Reid up. She'll put Bobby Reid up front and put Ramsey behind him. Can Bobby Reid play as a striker? I don't know if he can.
Well, I mean, he's 5'5", so I doubt it. I'm probably doing a slight disjustice of service there. I'm sure he's not 5'5" at all. He just looks it. But I wouldn't like to see Bobby Reid playing up top as a lone striker.
I don't know. Right. Score prediction.
From me?
Yeah. I've gone 1-1.
I was going to go 2-2. But...
You're going 2-2?
Yeah.
Shippo?
I always go bad against us anyway, just to hopefully the voodoo will be even better. That's what I said. I'd said 7-0 to you earlier on. And I says Leicester will beat us 7-0 just to make it even sweeter for when we do beat you. But I can't see it, so I'm going to go with 1-1.
1-1. Right. Well, it'd be a better point for you than it would for us. But no, Shippo, thanks for coming on, mate. Appreciate it. Everyone at the like button, subscribe to the channel. It's been an hour. sorry, it started off with a counselling session at the start. We do apologise. A bit carried on from yesterday. But if you are, well, when I do share this out, just basically just tell people if you've watched it the first time, just skip first 20 minutes and you'll find the actual preview. Go and check out the championship predictions as well. It's me and Steve and Rich did the predictions. And go and check out the counselling session on the evening whistle. Lovely stuff. Thanks for watching, everyone. Cheers, Shippo. Cheers, Dan.
No worries.